What's up, man?
Joe, how you feeling, my brother?
Man, taking it one day at a time, man.
That's right. That's right. That's all we can do.
Most
One
definitely,
day
man.
at a time.
It's been new with you, man. Happy birthday, man. This still your birthday week, man. Happy birthday, man.
Hey, thank you. 43, man. I think. Yeah, 43.
Peace, I think. Is
Thanks,
he the
man.
one?
I understand now, like, when you get up there, you kind of start losing count, man. I'm not even gonna lie. It's not even worth counting after a while. As long as I still try to look healthy, be healthy, feel healthy, I'm good, bro. Uh, I keep saying I'm grateful because I don't really have as much gray hairs as I know most people my age.
Hey, man, you don't deny it, man.
Man, you
Don't
older than
deny
me.
it, man.
You're older than me, but you also got more responsibilities than me too. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand.
definitely. Hold on, you said I'm older than you?
No. I'm older than you. I'm sorry. I'm older than you. You're younger than me.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
still got.
and you got your whole you
Yeah,
know
you know what? You know what I tell people when
thing
they be like, oh,
cracking.
when they be like, yo, you got gray hair. I said, yeah, I'm married, man.
Yeah, you gotta have it. But see, this is the Bible says it's a sign of your wisdom.
You know what though?
That's what it say in the Bible. It's a sign of wisdom.
To be honest with you, man, to be
Yeah.
100% honest with you,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
to be 100% honest with you, man, I've gotten so more mature in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've accepted my maturity.
Amen.
I'm saying I've accepted my maturity and I've accepted my wisdom. I've accepted not being the same person I was, 5, 10 years ago.
That's right.
Um, I accept it all, you know what I'm saying? Because when we talk about evolution, people think about evolving into something that is so dramatically noticeable by other people.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about evolving starts within yourself. You got to be able to identify that you have evolved before others outside of you can say that, hey man, you look different or you acting different or you talking different. So, to
Yeah,
be honest,
I've been getting that a lot lately too, man, and I'm grateful for it because that to me is saying that God is working on me, God is working in me, and one of the things we want to talk about as we get in this part, I said it before, is like I have to make sure all of my titles, whether it's para or well, I'm not a husband, but for you as husband, daddy, son, I was a minister, all these other things. I have to make sure all those people get in alignment with one vision and one person. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is a statement to me is saying like, okay, Mr. Bradshaw is now evolving to be one person. And with that one person, I want people to see is a reflection of Christ inside of me, bro. And that's just what it is.
nah, that's what's up, man. Man, before we get started, I'd like to welcome everybody to Finding Orders podcast. We are a live interacting podcast. So if you have any comments, jump in the comment section. We will read it live if you can get to it. We do answer questions. Share your ideas and also your thoughts too as well as we going throughout the episode. So if there's something that come in mind or come on your heart and you want to share it, you can always express it in the comment section. So if you're here, if you can kindly share the live for us, it may not be for you, but it might be for somebody else. If you haven't followed us, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook on Finding Orders Podcast, YouTube on Finding Orders Podcast. Today we have a really good topic that we're going to be discussing that I feel like we definitely need to touch up on because I feel like a lot of us, including myself, every time I always include myself because me and Aaron, we're not, we don't claim to be perfect, but we try our best to, live as possibly righteous as we can by, asking for forgiveness no matter what we do and how we say things to people that may not like it. But I feel like this conversation need to be had because I feel like as we evolving or growing, we grow in different ways and we grow in different directions, and sometimes we forget the fundamentals of the foundation and the laws that came before us. Even Christ himself, when he came down, he said he didn't come to change the law. He came to add on to the law. So it's some things that we still have to, we have to try to remember and remind ourselves, whenever we're doing something and whenever we are held accountable at the end for a place where it's supposed to be sacred, right? So today's topic, right, that we're going to be talking
Hold on,
is
can I say
about.
something real quick before we
Go
get
ahead.
started? And the reason why I want to say this to everybody is because, um, first of all, there's going to be people that's going to get offended when they hear what we have to say. The goal and the object is never to offend anybody, right? I don't want to offend anybody. We're not here to offend anybody. We are here to try to help people grow. We're here to try to help plant a seed, um, whether it's even for somebody to like something to think of, something to grow past, or something to just just go back and think about it, pray and meditate on it. But with that said, they said the word is a two-edged sword, that's sharper than any two-edged sword, and it'll pierce the very soul. So right now, like what we're gonna do is we're gonna speak from a word standpoint, and we're gonna come with honesty and a perspective to try to lay or reestablish some groundwork, and what we were trying to, I guess, what the original intent of the church is supposed to be, and for lack of better words. And one of those is from Matthew 18:7. It says, "Woe to the world because of the things that cause people to stumble. Such things must come, but woe to the person through whom they come."
Mm.
So, yep, that's where we're going to get. I just want to give that little disclaimer before we get started, because we're not really here to cause anybody to stumble. We're not here to cause anybody to be offended or be upset with what we're trying to say right now. But we are saying this for growth, and we're doing this for kingdom purposes.
Oh, with that being said, today's topic we're talking about, does kingdom still have a standard? Um, and I'm gonna let you guys, get started with it. So if you're here, sit down, take your notes. If you have comments, please jump in the comment section. If you have any feedback, also jump in the comment section so that way we can get to it too as well. Caleb, what's up, man? I know you just put in the group chat. What's up, Caleb, man? You
Hey,
actually put
kid,
on my other day.
love you, my brother. How you doing, bro? Yeah. So this topic came up. Partially, it's two ways I want to cover this, right? One of it is through like the BET Awards and stuff like that, and now like the whole gospel community is up in arm because Glorilla won a gospel award, right? And also there's some other things that's been happening within the church, and a lot of things that's been happening within the kingdom of God. And we're not even going to say church, man, because this really is supposed to be for kingdom business. And I think a lot of people forget that we are here for kingdom business, right? And one of the videos I'm going to show is about William McDowell, Pastor William McDowell, and he's speaking on some things about the worship industry, right? But to me, that is part of the issue and the problem, even with the kingdom of God when it comes to church, is because now we're talking about worship industry, but worship was to glorify God and to establish a relationship with God and a level of closeness with God, right? So when you do it, and oftentimes I know I'm not the only one, a lot of people who've just been in church their whole life, they can contest to you start off in places and you start off seeing people, and your friend, one of the people you like talking about a lot is Kirk Franklin. You know what I'm saying? You can tell when they start off, they start with that purity and that innocence, right? And somewhere down the line, a lot of these things started changing, and you started wondering like what's going on, because it's supposed to be kingdom business. And I think that's what we forget. I think we started mixing up the kingdom business with the world business and the things of this world. And the sad part about it is things are so bad and the wall is down so much that the people of God really can't even tell the difference between the standard that the king is supposed to have because of what they have seen in churches and just the things of the world, because they're so intertwined, right? And so now it's like, oh, you come across as judgmental. But I want to see if I can find this thing real quick. I posted on Facebook not too long ago, because it says you shouldn't be. I really, let me see, it's right here. I forgot who posted it, but okay, it says right here, if the truth makes you angry, you got to evaluate the lie that made you comfortable.
Mm.
And I put that on Facebook because that's what it is. Like, if y'all are comfortable, and then when we go deeper into the conversation that we go into, um, the thing about it is, like, you got to start reevaluating what made you think that what you were seeing and what you was a part of made you comfortable and is okay.
Yo, that's deep. I like that.
Yep. So that's just what it is.
All right. Well, to me, I did see the BET Awards. Um, I have a very strong dislike um, for Kirk Franklin, but before I used to always say I always used to look at things from my perspective, but I try to look at meet people where they at and see it from their perspective. I always say everybody start off with a great intention,
Mm-hmm.
and along the way, either we feel like we can change people um, without God, and the same people that we're trying to change, we get conformed to their ways.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now I do feel like the intention of a good heart is there, but along the way, he tried to cross mix the world with the gospel, but there's the world side and then there's the godly side. It's a separation for a reason. The ocean is there, and then the land is there. There's a separation. There's a reason why God's told the ocean or the body of water, you stay right here, and you can't come over on this side anymore. You know what I'm saying? Since the great flood. But with him, when I seen that, what I took offense to, that he should have took offense to, that any Christian should take offense to, is what Kevin Hart said. Kevin Hart said, "Don't come on stage and twerk," because everybody, and it was a joke, but within jokes there's some truth within jokes, and I feel like it's one of those truth within the joke that he was kind of like calling them out in a jokeful way. Like, we know you got that feminine side to you, whatever, the spicy side to you that everybody's been talking about lately, or have been talking about. So,
Mm-hmm.
don't come up here trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I took offense to that. I was like, dang, you supposed to be a man of God representing the kingdom, and here you letting worldly people from the world talk to you like this in this manner. But that's because you've given them you've allowed them to, to be able to talk to them. You have allowed them to be able to talk to you like that because you are playing in their playground. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like, because you're playing in their playground, they're able to take your toys and play with it any kind of way, however they want to play with your toys. They play with your name any kind of way. And to me, it's not a mockery to you, Kirk Franklin. It's a mockery to the kingdom, because you have put the kingdom to an open shame, and we can't do that. We can't allow that, because he started off with the standard, right? And then
Right.
he went away from that standard, because now his music, he's crossing the gospel music with the world style of music, and it's like, it just don't mix like that. It don't. And to me, it's just, either you change them, and when I say you change them, I'm not saying you per se, but the
Right.
spirit of God that's in you have to be strong enough to be able to go out there and possess the nation for God, or you're gonna be out there in the corner slanging dope and doing what they do, to survive. You know what I'm saying? And I
It was,
feel like,
go ahead.
I just feel like that's what kind of like happened to him. So when I did see it, for Glorilla to win, even she said, when I called Kirk Franklin in to do the record, I didn't think he was going to do it, because I know how I am. But because he doesn't have any standard for his kingdom, he accepted it. And he accepted it so much that even she was shocked.
Yeah, because it was like, it was not just him, but it was other people of gospel artists that was on that album and on that record, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of these people was like, I guess it's like when you put Billy Ray Cyrus on Little Nas X song, and then all of a sudden it's labeled as country music, or the things that they're trying to do. It's like, just because you have these artists on your song does not necessarily mean that this is a gospel song. And I even heard somebody, like a video, someone spoke on it earlier in the video, of saying, but if you actually listen to it, nothing about it is about worshiping God or loving God. It's about demands and selfishness. Like, Lord, I know I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna sin and I'm gonna mess up, but I want you to cover me in my sin. I want you to cover me in my mess up. And I think that is the problem with the kingdom. And that is the problem with people when you sit around and say, I want to, it's like an enabling thing. Like, I want you to enable me to do my worst and my best, but still watch over me. But I think, I've said this before, that's what we have been encountering for a long time. Whereas though when you say people, when you tell people, do you, or you sit back and you say, okay, this person is doing X, Y, and Z, but that's just them. I'm gonna love them, and we supposed to, but we still supposed to hate the sin. We still supposed to make a separation and distinguishment between the sin, because what the lady went on and says, like, a tree is known by a fruit that it bears, and then she would just went on her IG page and said, this is what Glorilla has been promoting for the last hour. And if you go in there and you're saying it was just nothing about God, it was nothing, like, you just, your lifestyle, what you're trying to do. And like you said, everybody wants to be in this industry. Everybody wants to be famous. And that's the sad part about it. But it brings me to this William Murphy clip, right? I mean, William McDowell, that I want to play for
Who
us.
is one of my favorite gospel artists too, by the way.
Because I love worship. I love worship. And I just wanted to play a little bit of this so that we can see exactly what he was talking about and in the warning that he was talking about, right?
There was no worship industry in the beginning. And so now I would
Jojo, you can hear it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say that we are probably more in danger of a Luciferian spirit while leading worship than at any other time, because now we want to be famous for leading worship. But ultimately, trying to be famous and leading worship, you're actually worshiping worship and desiring to be worshiped. And so we have an issue then, because proper worship kills the desire to be worshipped. And I know that most of us would never say we want to be worshiped. Let me reframe it for you. Being a celebrity is a form of worship when you desire it. So
I'm just gonna pause it right there, and we can just jump into it a little bit. But that's just what it is. He says being a celebrity is a form of wanting to be worshipped because it's the fame, it's the attention, it's all the things. Is the reason why you see all these people that's trying to go viral on TikTok. It's the reason why you see all these people trying to catch these moments and different things like that. Even when they call so-called like prophesying and all these other things, is like, I want to prophesy and I want to say all of these different things because I want people to see me as being a person that hears from God. But there's no humility in it. That's why you get all of these televangelist pastors and all these people is on YouTube and different things like that. And they say and do some of the most craziest things. That's how you can have a Beyonce satanic worshiping service on Easter. It's all of these different things that's going on, but it's like the kingdom still have a standard. And we have to understand what that standard is and how we can as children of God, stand up to some of these things. But in order to stand up to it and identify the standard or live through the standard, we have to identify the things that's wrong right now so that we can push back and say that right there is not kingdom.
Right. I mean, it's not even just him though. When you look at the church as a whole today, there's no standard in these churches, because I think you called me up on the other video that the two, was it the gospel singers or the church choir dressed as women?
Yeah, it was two men leading praise and worship, and they were dressed like full-blown women with the hat and the heels on and everything.
I mean, like, what is that for? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, to me, which we know that's cross-dressing, right? And we know the Bible talks about that. Man shouldn't dress like a woman. Women shouldn't dress like a man. So it's like the standard we talk about is just like, it's not there. We have gone away from that. Now your pastors, like William McDowell just said, and not even just being on TV, they just being in the church itself, not even being televised. Your pastor's more of a celebrity than an actual celebrity is.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, but that's what it is like. But I feel like for a long time, a lot of our spiritual leaders have been teaching people to worship them and come when they come to church. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm,
it's supposed to, like when I'm not there. It's like what you said. You think they came to hear you or they came to hear me?
right,
You
right.
know, I think they train people in their insecurities and different things like that to try to, be worship for some kind of shortcoming that they have within themselves.
Yeah, and that's where I said, that's why I was like, the standard itself. I don't think we respect the standard nowadays in the churches because it's just been watered down so much. Where if you're a politician and you want to get voters, you go to the church and sit there, and they'll bring the cameras and everything, and then the church will be on TV, and that's their fame right there. You know,
Mhm.
we don't even know. We don't have no boundaries. Forget the fact that we don't have the standards. We don't have a boundary for the church no more. Back in
Right.
the day, you couldn't even just go into the sanctuary with your shoes on. You had to take your shoes off before you get before the holy tabernacle or before you go to the holy throne. You had to, you had to you had to show some type of humility, right?
Yeah.
Now because it has become so accessible, like I always say this, ain't nobody really in their right mind. If they get even with this guy sitting in office, forget the fact that he is who he is and he is what he represents, whatever he represents. Anybody get an invitation to the White House, you're going to try to go there with your best. You want to look decent when you go in there, right?
Hmm.
Now I know some people, I'm gonna go in there like, no, you're not. You can't even probably make it past security. You're gonna have to go in there with some type of standard of what to wear, right?
Right.
But when we talk about the church, like, oh, God said, "Come as you are." Yeah, He said, "Come as you are." If you broken spirited, He ain't saying, you know what I'm saying, just you know what I'm saying.
Not
You
yeah.
know you're going before a church. You're not about to just come on, man. Why are we dressing like that?
Right.
Now, if you're saying that's all you got, all right, I can understand that. But after you come in and say, hey, this is what I got, so I came like this, of course, it's the church's responsibility to make sure that you come properly and addressed to the service, right? But we kind of like make the kingdom business or even trying to fight to get to the kingdom, right? We put that on the back burner. I'm gonna do everything else, then I'm gonna come back and do this. Or I'm gonna
Right.
do everything else, then when I've checked off all these lists, then I'm gonna start doing this. But
What it
the
say? Obedience is better than sacrifice.
sacrifice, yeah.
Because
And
I think
it's
that's what they did in the world is made it seem like, oh, because I'm doing good. Oh, because I can sacrifice this. Oh, I'm doing this for you. I don't have to be obedient. You still
yeah,
have to be obedient to what he said, you know. But
yeah,
here's another one I wanted to show everybody. And this was the one that I was showing you about Big Frida leading praise and worship. Now, if anybody know, this is what she said, transgender woman. I think that's the proper way of saying it. Who's leading a gospel, and one of the tags say, um, it was always her dream since she was a little boy to lead a choir. So this is it right here. They sound good too, though. I ain't gonna lie, they sound really good. Look, it's singing. Let's see what one I say. Let's see. Look, they got the fans. Where the fans at? All right, we ain't gonna glorify this too much. We're not gonna glorify it. I just wanted this people to see it's on here. I didn't want people to think, oh, we just making stuff up and just putting it on there. But no, I wanted the people to see that, right? But here's the problem with sin. And I try not to deal with the LGBTQ community or any of those type of topics. I try not to even touch on it because there's so many other things that's going on, right? In the world. And I just think it's low-hanging fruit. That's just me personally. It seems like a lot of people want to make a bigger deal out of that, as if talking about somebody behind their back and lying and all kinds of other things is not just as bad. All sin is sin, right?
mm-hmm,
The thing about this is, if it was always your dream to lead a choir, What those people allowed you to do was live in your flesh, and they call it glorifying God. The reason why you're glorifying is vainglory and you're glorifying your flesh is because if you really wanted to do that for God, you wouldn't have came to God and disrespected him in that manner. And it goes back to say, come as you are. No, that's not what he meant. Because you are comfortable in your own skin to present yourself to an all-holy God who hates sin and present yourself that way, saying that you're glorifying him in his name. That is the most backwards thing in the kingdom of God that you can possibly do. It's such a slap in the face to God to sit back and say, like, but see, that's the thing. If you really wanted to do that, you should have repented, humbled yourself, and presented yourself holy and acceptable unto him so that he can accept your offering of praise. He can accept your offering and your sacrifice. That is the standard of the kingdom. That's the book of Romans. That's Romans chapter 12. That's what he said. You present yourself a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. That is not holy and or acceptable unto God. What you're doing is you're gratifying your own flesh. And it's like I've always said this, and this is like with the Republicans, like these people is playing in your face. And because we want to be entertained so much, we are allowing people to play in our face and thinking it's okay, and God is okay with that. They come out there, they scream and they shouting for her and doing all of these different things, and it's like, wow, that's very disrespectful to God to do that, and in that manner.
Yo, you know what? One of the craziest, it's funny you say that we having this conversation, right? One of the craziest prayers I used to pray, right? When I used to go up, when I used to live that life, right? And I get out on the road, right? And I know I'm about to go do bad. I'm about to go bust a move to make some money, right? Before I get out the car, I get in the parking lot, I say, God, I'm about to go in here, I'm about to go bust a move. Please let me go in there, do what I gotta do, and come back out, and I give you the glory. When I come back out and I don't get caught, I give you the glory. And it's like, hold on. You know you about to go commit sin. You about to ask God to protect you as you're going to commit this sin. And when you come back, you'll thank him for allowing you to go in to commit the sin and not getting caught and coming back. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. I think that's normal. I've done that, and mine was more so in sexual nature. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, there's only so much God is going to allow you,
Yeah.
There's so much he's going to allow you to do that before you actually mean what you're saying. And then he's going like, look, bro, I ain't got time for this, man. You playing around.
Right.
And so that is the thing that made me, and it's still making me trying to humble myself to say, Lord, I need to get this right. I need to be right. I need to do right so that your judgment don't come upon me. And I don't need that. I'm grateful. I tell people all the time. That's why I don't, like I said, I don't address those type of topics because there's so many things that I have done in my life and God doesn't expose me for it. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's those ones where they are blatantly making a mockery of God, where God is just like, bro, what you think we doing here? Like Kirk Franklin, they said the uncensored part. He's like, they probably censored this on TV. He called it D-popping. Y'all know what it means. Like, they call it P-popping for the women because of their private part. And Kevin Hart is like you said, like, now you're supposed to be a man of God, man of God, and the things you're supposed to do, and you let somebody like that talk to you, like you said, in that manner. Where's the standard? It's all jokes. It's funny, but why would you let him like joke you and do those things to you like that? And then when you get your award or whenever they was on stage together, he said, man, didn't I tell you not to do that? And then he tried to grab him to try to make it seem like like they joking around, like, oh, don't be doing that. Like, no, yes. Now you got the world calling you out. You got worldly people, and I'm not saying Kevin Hart is worldly from the standpoint because I don't know what he believes in, and I've never really seen him talk about God or establish anything like that. I really don't really watch his comedy, anything like that. But I don't know what he stands for. But when you talk about secular and the worldly things, like, yeah, you got a man calling you out like that, and you're supposed to be a man of God. I just find that very strange.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like it was. You could tell he felt uncomfortable even when the camera was on his face. He wasn't like laughing. You could tell when he started that he did not like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happens when you put that when you wear that attire. You know, to want to be that poster child for that.
And
You
not
know?
only that, you're chasing something that don't have nothing to do to glorify God, though. It's like you said perfectly. It's an industry, like any industry, just like we talked about before. The earth is the Lord's and the world thereof, right? The earth is the Lord's and everything thereof, the world and everything therein. And we already talked about this of how there are different worlds within the earth, right? And He wants to be in that world of entertainment. He wants to be in that world of the things that's happening, and because when I said the P. Diddy universe, want to be in that world, man. But it's like it's crazy because at the end of the day, the standard is still the standard. And as long as you like those people, I believe got the notoriety and the things that they have done because they literally had a human, a humble and contrite heart to want to serve God, and God seen that and God lifted them up. Now, what they did with that is on them because it was just a story. Jesus Christ, I just heard it. How God, I want to say it was Saul. It was Saul. How God said he remorsed. He was remorseful. The Bible said God was remorseful for appointing Saul as the king because Saul got to that position and then turned his heart on him and turned away from God. And Saul turned around and tried to blame the people when he went in there and told, when he sat up there and said, when he commanded Saul to go in and kill everything and take nothing. And he was up and said, oh, it was the people. It was the people. God said, man, kill the kids, the animals, the men, the women, and don't take nothing. And he went in there and took all the fine things out of there. And he turned around and blamed the people. Like, what kind of king are you? What kind of king are you that you sit around and you acquiesce to people? And you giving the people, you're not giving your instructions and you're not giving your footsteps to God. It don't work that way. God still had extended.
Yeah. I mean, the standard part. I mean, I don't know. The church is the church. The church is what it is now, man. And that's what I like about the Book of Revelation. That you gotta find your own standard. If you try to go by the standard of today's church, you're gonna find it. You're gonna go to the church, think you praising God, and really they just leading you to the fire pit.
Yeah.
And that's why you gotta have that. You gotta have that. You gotta have that. And I'm not saying don't go to the physical, presence of of the church. Don't go to the brick and mortar church. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is you're better off probably having a personal relationship with God directly than saying that you go to this church right here. Because
I would say it like this, right? I would say if you are serving or if you're going to a brick and mortar in a community, right? First of all, we're gonna give you this warning. This is what the whole this is your final notice. This is the whole reason for the podcast. First Peter 4:7. For the time has come for judgment to begin at the house of God. And if it begins with us first, what will be the end of those who do not obey the gospel of God? So it's not to say that you can't go to your brick and mortars. It's just to say that when you go to your brick and mortars, you need to understand and know what the standard is for the kingdom of God. And if you don't know what the standard is for the kingdom of God, then say for instance you do know, right? If you do know what the standard is, it's your God-given right and your ability. That's the reason why He put you in those places that when you start seeing certain things, that you now have to be a reflection of God's kingdom, even in the midst of it. That's why you're there. And that's the whole purpose for Him saying that we're going to be persecuted in this day and time, because you have to stand up. We can't sit back and be idle and be comfortable anymore when we seeing these things happen, especially when we know better. But for those that don't really understand or even know what that standard is, I would encourage you to try to get to know what that standard is, so that when that judgment come, Just like it says right here in 1 Peter 4:17, that judge, you can understand, you know when to get out of there, because he said he's never going to leave you without a warning. He's never going to leave you not really knowing what's happening. He's going to provide a way out. That's what he says. So I will pray that you understand what that standard is, so that when that judgment come passing on that house, man, it don't bother you. It don't that judgment don't get you. But if you there and you know God put you there and you have a work to do, I would say do the work. And in due time, God will exalt you and God will remove you. Either God is going to remove you or God going to remove those people, one way or the other. But that's the purpose of it. We still have to abide by the standard.
Yeah. And if you read in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17, and I would be scared, because it's pretty much telling you that when he comes and he's judging, he's not going to start with the world. He's going to start with the church. He's
Yes,
going to
sir.
start with the believers. So that's what I would say. You're going to try to force feed the information to a non-believer, and in the process, you yourself not even saved to be able to even get to the kingdom. So to me, you definitely, and that's what I was saying with Kirk, not to pick on him, but just saying about people nowadays where they try to chase the fame. As we know, fame is the most addictive drug there can possibly be, right?
Stronger than heroin.
Man, what? So it's like you trying to help people, deliver the gospel music and all of that, and all of a sudden now you done turn around and become part of what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're like God TD Jakes, he getting caught at Diddy parties. Like, how's a man of God of your stature? How's a man of God, as your stature, at a Sean Puffy, Playboy Diddy Combs party? Like, like, it don't even make sense. If you would have said, like, you with, William McDowell and them, they got a little parties they be going to. All right, I can understand. Even if they're doing freak offs over there, I can understand you going over there, because it's a bunch of pastors. There's a bunch of men of God people over there. But to hear what I like, even he was there, he like them young guys. Like, hold on. Why would they be saying that? Like, why would they pass a fake rumor like that about you? Like, if you know what I'm saying? Like, who says
it wouldn't have happened if he wasn't there, right?
That's what I'm saying. So he had to been there. He had to go. He was there. And whatever they say he did, he did.
Allegedly.
Ain't no allegedly. Ain't no man in their right mind going to accuse the man of God, knowing that God can easily zap them if they pray. You know what I'm saying?
It's easy to do that when you find yourself in the wrong places. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. It's like you said again, it could have been one. I don't know, because I wasn't there. So I can't, like I said, I'm saying allegedly. I wasn't there. And I'll never be in a place where,
man, if Diddy said he was there, he was there.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, right? He said, woman, thou art loose, but man, you are slippery from the oil. And that's the baby oil, not the anointing, that is.
Yeah, see?
he was loose too. But that was just a joke. But I'll be honest, I wasn't there. So I don't really know what was going on with that, because I'm not there. But let's just say he wanted to have good intentions, right? But then there's other people who understands and knows what this man's talking about Diddy, his character is, and the things that was going on. And then you sit back and say, like, why is he around a person like that? Like, some of the people that we grew up around, that we went to cop, that you speak of sometimes, right? You welcome them in your house, you welcome people around you, but you ain't going out with them on a Friday, Saturday night.
No, most definitely.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's like those things, like you setting yourself up, because at the end of the day, you forgetting the standard. Like, you invited me to a party. No, I will pray over you. I'll accept your offering. You know what I'm saying? I'll accept your seed that you sow into the kingdom of God. I'll accept that. But I don't need to be in your party. I don't need to be there with you, associating with you. I will pray over your life. You know what I'm saying? Different things like that. But those I'm saying, like, even you got your man looking at Cam Newton saying that he got beautiful legs. Like, who says that to another man? It's all of these different things. Like, you hosting other pastors who sat back and said, the moment I get to the part where I can get to, I'm gonna light up an L and I'm gonna start smoking. And when I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna start doing these different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's crazy to me that you would put yourself in that position to look like that, you know? Like, so no, I'm cool. Like, no. Like, I went out to my staff party the other day, you know what I'm saying? And my thing was how I would normally conduct myself. I like get up and dance and, you know, have fun, this and the other. It's like, nah, I think I'm past this now. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say I don't want to, like, because, you know, you always get that old thing, that old feeling back. You want to get up and you want to dance and you want to have fun and you just that and the other. But at the same time, it's like, what is this going to lead to? Right? I'm going to go, and when I get up out of here, I'm going home to my baby who's sitting in the house waiting for me. And that's the end of the night for me. That's all that's going to happen. So why would I put myself in a situation that's going to, you know, spark feelings and different things like that in my body and my members to make me want to go and do something after that? It's like at some point in time, you have to start remembering who you are. You got to start remembering who you're trying to be. And although people can sit back and say, oh, yeah, it's just one night and I need to let go and I need to let loose and I need to have fun. Like, but do you really? You don't need to do any of that stuff. You want to do those things, but you don't have to do those things. Now, I don't mind going out and having a good time, go to a jazz club or this, that, and the other, but you know how we used to get down when we was younger than anybody that was born in the 99 in the 2000. We was around. You know what I'm saying? We know how we got down. I don't need to do that anymore. And that's the one thing I really started, like, that's a prayer of mine. I really had to start, like, certain things what I started realizing is I do hold on to a lot of things in my past, bro. Some good, some bad. Like, I looked at, like, through some of my birthday cards. I realized I got a birthday card I put on Facebook. I have a birthday card that I still have when my sister made me when I was 15 years old. If somebody gave me a card for Father's Day or anything like that, even when my daughter was born, I have all of those things, right? And it's cool to have to sit back and look at it and say, look where I came from. But then there's some, like, I realized it was like past relationships that you would have with people and, you know, different things like that. And I'm not saying they was like intimate relationships or anything like that. It was like you holding on to memories and you're holding on to certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, even when I was out, you look at older people, it's like they still trying to hold on to it. And it's like, yo, at some point in time, you can say to yourself, it's okay to evolve and let go. Like, that's, and I tell people, that's not really what I would consider fun anyway. I went there because it was a staff event. There was a couple of people there that I liked. I was like the designated driver and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was kind of like, do I really need to be here? Do I really need to be in this atmosphere doing these things? No, I don't. So I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna try to crack some jokes. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna socialize with the people that I'm cool with and talk to. But at the end of the day, no.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be something, bro. I'm trying to become something, and it's okay. I don't have to keep holding on to that past glory of the days because I know what I can do. I can still get down if I want to. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have to. I don't have to show that to anybody.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I try not to question it because I feel like that's the way the world is now. But I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I just be like, man, what's going on in people's mind, man? Like, what do y'all be really, like, what are y'all really thinking about? You know, because it's like,
don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I'm sorry to cut you off. There were some people there, and when you look up to me, I'm very observant. I like looking at people. I like to watch people have fun, right? And I'm not trying to, and as I say, I'm not trying to offend anybody, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. When you look at people and they like it was this one girl in there, she was dancing, man, and you could tell she was free. She was off rhythm and everything, man. But in her mind, in that state of, I guess, euphoria, she was free. She was happy. And I'm like, that's amazing. And that to me, I like watching things like that, like when seeing people like in your ultimate form, because it's so many people walk around with masks, right? There's so many people that are not comfortable in their own skin. There's so many people that like they have to do something and be something else that they're not to feel comfortable. And that to me is the problem because I think they don't understand that God can do that for them. You know what I'm saying? Like God can do that for you. Now I'm not mad at you and I'm not upset that you chose to express it in that manner. It's just that the person inside of me begins to pray at some point in time, say, I pray and I hope that you get to experience that level of freedom and not have to drink and feel like you are being bound to do so. But that's also the reason why I love worship, because anytime I worship, I have that freedom.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Because I tell people I don't drink. Like yesterday, we went out. I went out. Me, my wife, my neighbors, his wife, brother, friends. We went out last night, right? And he was like, "You drinking?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." He said, "What's wrong with you, man?" I said, "Oh, because he's never been out with me with me and my wife before or whatnot." So he's like, "Man, you don't drink?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm not. I'm one of those people. I don't need to have a beverage to have a good time. I mean, can I drink if I want to? Yeah, but even when I was drinking or when even I would have a drink, it was by like influence. One, because let me go buy me a bottle, and I put it like this. I've never been the type to ever get up and say I'm about to go to the liquor store to buy a bottle because I want to drink. I don't. My go-to drink, since everybody want to know, I'm gonna tell y'all. My go-to drink when I go to any establishment is the Shirley Temple. And the reason why I go get a Shirley Temple is because it look like cranberry and vodka in the club. If I'm sitting at the bar and you be like, "Oh, what you drinking?" I'm like, "I'm gonna tell you it's vodka and cranberry juice," right? But in actuality, it's a Shirley Temple. And I really throw you off if I ask them to put a lime in that joint. Put a lime on the cup.
And
they really thinking I'm, because that's just I can go out and go have a good time with just that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't knock anybody because my wife, she's a social drinker. She'll tell you, "Oh, she's a social drinker," right? So we don't sit in the house and be like, "Oh, I want to drink." And my brothers came like 2 years ago, 2 years ago. They came up down here to visit me. My little brother came around his birthday. My little brother bought a bottle of Don Julio, and my brother bought another bottle. Those bottles are still there. They haven't been touched. And I told my brother, I said, "Yo, remember that bottles y'all bought? It's still here." He said, "For real?" I said, "So the next time y'all come down, don't even worry about buying a drink. Y'all can finish this one." He said, "You don't drink?" I said, "Rick, I don't drink. If I want to, I can force myself, but and I ain't gonna enjoy it. I'm drink and go pass out and go to sleep. I ain't even gonna enjoy it." You know what I'm saying? So you're right. You don't have to change your standard just to fit in. You don't have to change the standard just to please other people. The standard is the standard. Hell, let's even take it a little further. United States law is United States law. The government is the government. They say you can't come in here illegally. So guess what you're gonna do? If they find you here illegally, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna drag you out of here. It's the law.
But the law also said they're supposed to have due process, and that's the part.
No, that is true. You get due process. It's just in a fast pace, and not that slow pace.
No, I mean not to the people that they dragged out of here and flew out in the middle of the night. But
no, not them. I'm just saying. I'm just saying in the sense that there's standards that still needs to be met, whether it's worldly standard or godly standard. It's a standard.
Right.
That standard should not be altered for nobody's purposes.
I agree with that.
You get what I'm saying? Just like how he's altering the standard to fit his criteria. Like you said, it's a due process for the country, for the government. It's a process. He just, hey, I'm here now, so I'm gonna change that process up. It's the same thing when we talking about the gospel, right? These churches have changed up the standard to please people to come in just so they can put something in the collection plate. That's it. So the standard is the standard. Listen, everybody ain't going to heaven. Your dead homies, your dead relatives, all of us ain't guaranteed to go to heaven. For all we know, it may be only 1,000 people to go to heaven when God comes and judges us. It may be 500. It may be 5. Matter of fact, it might just be 2 people. We don't know that. But we do know that everybody ain't going to hell either. Right? So at some point we know, hey, I don't have to change up to please you, because me changing up I might lose that one soul that actually need to go to heaven.
It's funny because I've seen something online. This guy was up there and said, what did he say? Oh, the same thing about Saul. He said Saul, the reason why Saul lost his kingdom because he failed to adapt. And that's the video I was watching. It was like Saul was disobedient to God. Like that's why he lost his thing. But that's the problem. A lot of people want to adapt and fit in. But the kingdom was never about fitting in. It was never about fitting in. What happens is that one of the teachings that my old bishop taught, right, when he was talking about the woman with the issue of the well, right? And he was like, fetch me some water. And he was like, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for some water, right? And then she was like, I don't have a husband. He said, you have 5 of them. He said, but the one you with now is not even your husband, right? So how he was setting it up, it was like, so there was like 6 of them, right? The 6th one is man, your flesh. People are married to themselves. People are married to their flesh right now, and that's just what it is. Like, there's so many people that's like, well, I have a standard in this, even like relationships and dating, right? Well, I have a standard. It's my standard. Well, it should, like I tell people all the time, my standards is not my standards. They are kingdom standards. These are things that God told me that if I want to have a certain type of lifestyle, and God wants me to have a certain type of peace and happiness, because he turned around and told me, hey, it's better to live in the corner of a rooftop to live in a house with a contentious woman, right? So why in the world would I want to live in a house with a contentious woman? He already gave me the standard. He gave me the blueprint. He gave me the things that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to go. And if you line it up this way, then you can enjoy this type of things. It's not to say that you're not going to have disagreements. It's not to say you're not going to have arguments. It's not to say you're going to have these different things that's not going to come up in your life. It's just to say that this is the standard. This is what you can look forward to when you do things this particular way. Could have gotten in a lot of relationships. I chose not to because I want it done a certain type of way. I want it done according to the way that he says it to get it done. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it in plain and simple. You can look forward to certain things when it's in your standard. It's going to be hard. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be talked about. They're going to look at you like you're a square. You're going to feel like you don't fit in sometimes. You're going to feel like you want to release. But like you said, the standard is the standard, because the things that you get in the long run, the things that you will get in the end is way more beneficial than the things that you're getting by doing what you. And heck, this is what I tell people now. If what you're getting right now is so good and it's so bad, like it's the best thing you ever had, then why don't you have what you see already? If the way you're doing it is so right, why haven't you obtained all of the things that you desired? You got to change something. Something you have to do to get that what you desire. And if you ain't got it by now by doing it your way, then you probably need to try another way. You probably need to try a different way of trying to obtain those things. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's no way around it. It's no way around it. I mean, it's just what it is, man. We got to stop trying to change up to please other people, because you pleasing people that can't get you to heaven. They're not the standard. They're not the key to you going to heaven. So it's like, why am I changing this up? Because just so I can fill seats. And I think, that's kind of like the conception part about the churches nowadays, or the misconception is that they feel like they need to have people filling up the church homes to say that they're saving souls. It's not about the numbers, man. It's not about the quantity. It's the quality. The quality of people that you're saving is the quality. We so stuck on this. I have to go to a big church home. And I love the small churches because I feel like it's intimate. It's intimate churches. They smaller. I can go in there. Praise God. Praise the God. Do what I got to do and just be about my business and keep it moving. I don't want to go to mega church, and I'm not knocking on mega church. I'm just saying, to me, they're there to fill the seats. I'm not going to no Pastor Paul, Pastor Brian church. I'm not going to his church. I refuse to go to a church like that. You get what I'm saying? Because there's no standard over there. The standard that's over there is his standard. It's a man's standard. And for me to follow a man, I'd rather lead myself into the fire pit before I let him, dousing me over there. I'm not doing it.
Open the door and jump right up in there. We in there.
Yeah, I'm not going for that. So to me, if I'm not going for that, then I'm not about to change up the standard of what God said. This is the standard just to please another person. I'm not doing it. I'm not the one for it because I ain't the one who set it up. It is already set it up. Even God, when Christ, and you got to go back to the New Testament when the Palestinians, not the Palestinians, when the Philistines asked Christ, did you come to change the law, Moses' law? Did you come to change that law? He said, no, that is the standard. I just came to add on to that standard. I am the way, the truth, and the light. No man goes through the Father, but through me. He could have changed that standard. He can change it. But he said no, because it's just a foundation there. I just came to build on that foundation. So if Christ himself didn't even want to change the standard, which he could have changed it, to say, look, forget what Moses was talking about. Forget what my father gave y'all. I'm his son. I'm giving y'all a new standard. He said, no, I didn't come here to change the law. I just came on to add on to it. We can't change the law. We only have to add on to it. Yo, I was sitting there and I was thinking about something, right? And I said, it's funny how we have all these scriptures in the Bible about, John talked about this and what God did and everything. What scriptures are we going to write when we pass? Like, have you ever thought about it and say, you know what scripture will the future people read about us? Just like how we're reading about Paul, and we don't have any disciples. We don't have anything. We don't have no leaders in the churches where they write it. Nobody's adding to the Bible. Everybody added to.
There's too much offense in the church,
bro. But to me,
it's insecurity and offense.
I sat there and I asked myself, Aaron. We picking up this scripture. We reading what Matthew wrote. We read what Luke wrote. We read what Mark wrote. We read what John, and we read about what Paul and Peter wrote. Who is going to continue to add on to that scripture?
Yeah. I got one for you. It's kind of deep. When Jesus come to take us back, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a certain time where the Antichrist and all this stuff going to be running around in the earth. And then there's going to come a period in time where we're going to have to come and vanquish and kill all of this stuff and get it out the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the main reasons why we have to learn how to conquer the demons now, because when we come to clean the earth, those are going to be the same demons we're going to have to face. And if you're falling for lust and to temptation and greed and notoriety now, when it's time to come back and cleanse this earth of those things, you're going to fall for it. You're going to fall for it because you never conquered it now. You never overcame it now. So that's all the more the reason why you should keep your standard, so that you can overcome those weaknesses and those small things in your life, so that, when we come back to purify this earth and get these things up out of here, we can do it. That's one of the things that crossed my mind.
I was watching The Wire, right? I still watch The Wire from time to time. I always sit down and watch the whole episode, right? It's one line. It's one part of that episode is when Marlo was locked up with his number one shooter,
mm-hmm.
and his couple of his mans, right? And he was talking about how they were running his name on the street.
Yeah,
and he had no idea.
Yeah.
Man. He said, "You mean to tell me my name was being talked about on the street and I ain't know?" He said, "Man, he was just talking about." He said, "But my name is my name. The standard is the standard, man.
That's right.
No ways around it, man." And you know what he said? He said, "Put the word out. I did not know, but when I get out, I'm gonna hit every corner up and let them know my name is my name." So it's just like the standard. It's like, yo, I'm the standard now. It ain't Barksdale. It ain't Avon Barksdale and Stringer Bell and them. It's me. This is my name. I'm the standard now. I don't care who did it before. It's me now. So it's like at the end of the day, we can't change up certain things just to make it pleasing for the flesh or make it pleasing for the world. I can't be Kirk Franklin and I'll go from having that passion to singing for God Like everybody was stomping their feet when he first came out. Now, when we hear Kirk Franklin, we're changing the station. Why is that? He went away from the standard. Now the gospel community is mad because, like, yo, hold up, bro.
There's a whole
This
bunch of
thing-
them like that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
You know, my thing is about Kurt, and I'm
What's
gonna leave it alone after that. I remember you was up there asking, we was talking about it a while ago, and you was like, you know, most people often ask, like, where did it all go wrong? Right?
yeah,
And I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, you know, I think it all went wrong when he did the losing my religion thing. Right? My thing is, instead of you losing your religion, you being a prominent voice in the kingdom and you having a position in the kingdom where people listen to you, you was going around promoting the message and trying to sell an album saying you're losing your religion, but you never tried to change the things that you seen wrong. You never talked about raising the standard. He didn't, like you said, he didn't build on it. He didn't raise the standard. He just went along with all the negative things that he's seen, and then he never really tried to help correct the church. You never really tried to correct the things that was wrong. And now that you lost your religion, you look just like one of these people out here. But that's why I'm always careful about who I put my mouth on and who I speak on, because, you know, pause, but it's like, you know, who I'm talking about and how I'm talking about people is because I never want to become that person. You know what I'm saying? I never want to become, and that's one of the things that like scared me. Like I said, even when I was doing this pod, when we first started this pod, the thing that bothered me is like, I never want to be puffed up. I never want to get on here and just start talking so absolutes and all these other different things and sound like I'm puffed up and bigger than I am when I know I have a ton of flaws and I make mistakes, you know. So I've always tried to approach this thing with humility, you know. But like you said, when I was watching this one guy, he was like, "But where's the men? Where's the men, the real men?" And you really look up, the church don't have a lot of men.
It's about, sometimes it'd be like 70-30, 60-40 in a lot of churches.
Yeah,
a lot of churches be like 70-30.
A lot of men, and then the men that's there, they're either quiet, they kind of like regal, like, you know what I'm saying? They like they feel like they established. It's like a lot of these people don't bring up the correction, and then when the men that be in some of these local assemblies and things like that, when they do see the things that's wrong, they just leave. They don't question anything. They don't ask certain things because we are the ones that's supposed to help establish the leadership, because that's our order. That's the way we're supposed to do it, you know? And when we see these things wrong, then we're supposed to say something. And if the leader, like I said, is offended or he's insecure, or him or her, they're offended and insecure and they have a problem with it, then we already know the type of person that he is. And one thing is, like I said, God is never going to speak against his own word. He's never going to lead us in a way that is counter productive or opposite of what his word is going to say. Right. So we got to be careful about that. So you can't say, "Oh, God leading me this way and God is teaching me to do this," when it don't even line up with his word. It's backwards.
Yeah. All right, man. What's your final notice for today, man?
My final notice is prayer still works. You know, my son, I seen my son, like I don't even, like, it was just, I seen him, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, and it was on my birthday. So it was like, he didn't even know it was my birthday, but seeing him on my birthday, to me, it was like God is answering my prayers. Like, I got some petitions. I still got some petitions. I got a lot of things before God right now. And I have not seen the fruition of all of it. And I don't have the full victory over it yet. But the fact that I seen him and like he looks healthy, you know what I'm saying? I really don't know what's going on with him emotionally and mentally and different things like that. Didn't really have that much time. But prayer still works, everybody. And the more I realize, is like we talk about it, the more I'm focusing on the kingdom and changing me and doing things for God. God really did show me that, yeah, I hear you. And that's how I took it. I hear you. So it's going to be okay. So it still works. That's my final notice.
Well, my final notice is for all the good fathers out there. Tomorrow's Father's Day. We don't get a lot of recognition. So just want to wish every father, every individual out here that's taking care of their responsibility, whether they're biologically yours or they're a bonus child. Man, from the bottom of my heart, man, I just want to, wish you a happy Father's Day. Continue to do the work. It's not an easy work, but there's a saying, heavy's the head that wears the crown, man. And because we have been chosen by God to wear the crown and sit as the kings of our household and our communities, I pray that God give each and every one of us the opportunity to be great leaders, to lead in a way where we are looked at as a replication of God himself, because we are doing the things that is right by him, so that way we can reflect that on our families and our communities. So just want to wish all the great fathers out there happy Father's Day. Take a moment for yourself and enjoy it. We don't get a lot of recognition, not because we do it for recognition, but a person that's doing what's right should be recognized. And a lot of us don't get recognized. So from one father to another father, or to many fathers, to thousands and countless fathers, happy Father's Day for you guys tomorrow, man. You guys enjoy it. We deserve it.
Amen, man. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you too. Same to you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Look, tell them to go get some Shirley Temples on me, man.
I'm gonna ask you, bro. I said, you gonna get what you getting, socks or a wallet?
Nah, well, give me a Shirley Temple with extra grenadine in there with a lemon twist in there. Yeah, put a little bit of lime in there,
Right.
To be honest with you, though, my son asked me yesterday when I was getting their hair done yesterday. Boy, they was getting their hair done at the salon. I said, man, I got you, man. What you want to go to Macy's? What you want, Daddy? And I'm like, yeah, like you got money. We're gonna be using my own money to buy my own gift. All right, okay, but I see how far we can go. So after he was done, right, my daughter was getting her hair done first, and she got done. She came and sat next to me, right? She's like, "What, Daddy? What do you want for Father's Day?" And I said, "What I want, I already got, which is to be able to see my kids' face. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to be in their life, be in their presence. Just
simple, right? We just so simple.
Yeah, just give them what I didn't get. You know what I'm saying? Just give them that little bit of time. As much as they get on my nerves and they irritate us, and I love my kids. I love my family. I love my children. I don't really ask for much, because even what I ask for, y'all can't even buy. They can't even afford it. They're brokies. They ain't got it. So what's the point of me? You ask Daddy, what do you want? Okay, I want an Audi RS8. Can you go buy that? No. So why you asking me? You know what I mean? Right. But just being able to see them and just spend time with them, and just all your hard work, you get to see you with them. So it's like, I don't really ask for much. I don't, man. I don't ask for that. I don't need no socks. I don't need none of that.
My daughter accidentally gave me my Father's Day gift for my birthday.
Hey, that's nice. You drink coffee?
Yeah, I do. Can you read that? What that say, bro?
Yeah.
That joint say best farter ever.
Oh my gosh! I that just not people.
Dude on there with poop coming out of his farting out of his butt.
Bro, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, man, I said, did you mean to give me my Father's Day gift for my birthday gift? Like, come in. I know they back to back. She say, nah, I ain't mean to. I messed up.
Yo, that's funny.
Yeah, a few things set up in here where I record at. Like, I was trying to get together and because I got my closet and stuff around here. And I woke up in the morning, I was getting ready to go to work. And I looked over and seen the stuff that she had for me, man. I was just so amped. I was like, oh, look at her.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Now, my kids gonna ask me to buy them something for Father's Day. They're gonna ask me, Daddy, can you do me?
Right. That's how we go. And we're gonna do it. That's just who we are.
That's how it be.
The lady who do the flyers, man. I wanted to shout her out.
And yes. Can you post her I think I texted to you. Is there any way you can post it? I don't have my phone. You know what?
You never sent it to me.
I never sent it to you?
I never got it.
Dang, my bad. Hey, shout out to Rashida, man. Rashida's expecting a baby boy, man. She's expecting a son. She's due, I believe, in August. I want to say August. I don't know why I'm saying August, but I think it's August. So I'm gonna post her birth with the baby registry on our page. Man, y'all go, because she's the one who do our flyers. She don't charge us. I know she got a lot going on, with her pregnancy and her working and the government and all of this stuff that was going on, and she still make time to do our flyers for us, man. So want to give her a special shout out. Rashida, thank you so much for all the flyers, man. We love you. congratulations again. And I'm definitely going to post your registry on our page. And I'm also going to share on my Facebook page, and I'm gonna just tag you in there just to people to, spam that up, whatever they can do to help out, because she do a lot behind the scenes. And, the funny thing though is I asked her if she ever thought about, wanting to be a guest or even come on the show. And she was like, nah. She said, nah. I said, all right, well, just thought I want to ask you. But yeah, she do a lot for us, man. Thank you so much, Rashida, man. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely share the flyer on our the registry on our Final Notice page. And then if you follow me on Facebook, I'm also gonna post it, and I know Aaron is gonna share it too as well.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, look, we're about to let you guys go. We like 12 minutes over the time, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. You can follow us. Where is it at here? If you have any questions, or if you have an idea, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you got something we can talk about to help the kingdom out, you can reach out to us, Final Notice Podcast at gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Final Notice Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, Final Notice Podcast, Facebook, Final Notice Podcast, and TikTok, Final Notice Podcast on these platforms, man. If you have any questions, or you can inbox us directly to us on Facebook, because I do share this also on my main page, and you can also do the same with Aaron. So definitely encourage you guys to reach out, whatever we can do to help out. We don't claim to know everything. We claim to learn from each other, and we're not right, and I'm not perfect, Aaron is not perfect, but we definitely do our best to try to educate each other, so that way when the day of judgment, we can't say we didn't know because we're not the only ones doing this. So, we just want to be able to do our part and just, keep it moving.
There you go.
All right, y'all. See y'all next week, man.
Love y'all. Take it easy.